Among the many intellectual achievements of ancient civilizations, few are more revealing than their attempts to measure and interpret time. Calendars are often treated as practical instruments, devices created simply to organize agriculture, taxation, festivals, or political administration. Yet in many traditional societies, the calendar represented something far more ambitious. It was a mathematical model of the relationship between humanity and the cosmos. Two such traditions stand out for their complexity: the astronomical traditions of classical India, particularly the Jyotisha inherited and preserved within Hindu culture, and the calendrical astronomy of the ancient Maya. These traditions developed on opposite sides of the planet and within entirely different cultural environments. No accepted archaeological evidence demonstrates direct historical contact between them. Nevertheless, their comparison raises important questions about how human societies construct systems of sacred time, how astronomical observation becomes embedded within religious practice, and why sophisticated civilizations repeatedly arrive at similar solutions to the universal problem of tracking the heavens. The comparison has become especially interesting because traditional Indian chronology associates the beginning of Kali Yuga with the departure of Krishna in 3102 BCE, while the Maya long count begins from an epoch conventionally correlated to 3114 BCE. The approximately 12-year difference between these dates has often been noted as remarkable. However, responsible historical analysis requires caution. A numerical resemblance does not by itself establish cultural connection. The more significant question is whether the two traditions reveal comparable intellectual structures, methods of calculation, concepts of cyclical and linear time, astronomical observation, and the integration of celestial phenomena into religious life. A particularly appropriate figure through whom to examine this subject is Siddhanta Saraswati, whose early life demonstrates that Gaudiya Hindu tradition was not historically opposed to mathematical astronomy but deeply engaged with it. Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati and the astronomical tradition of Jyotisha. Before he became known as Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, the great Gaudiya Hindu reformer was born Bimala Prasad Datta in Bengal in 1874. His later religious career would make him one of the most influential Hindu teachers of modern India, but his early intellectual formation occurred within the world of Sanskrit scholarship, mathematics, and astronomy. As a young scholar, Bimala Prasad developed a reputation for mastery of Jyotisha, the traditional Indian discipline concerned with celestial calculation and astral knowledge. In the 19th century colonial environment, Indian astronomy existed at a complicated intersection between inherited Sanskrit scientific traditions and newly introduced European astronomical methods. Rather than rejecting either tradition, Bimala Prasad engaged both. His association with the royal court of Tripura was particularly significant. Through the patronage of King Bir Chandra Manakya, he gained access to extensive manuscript collections and continued his study of classical astronomical texts. During this period he became known as Siddhanta Sarasvati, a title reflecting his expertise in the Siddhanta tradition of mathematical astronomy. The word Siddhanta has a specific technical meaning in Indian astronomical literature. Texts such as the Surya Siddhanta were not merely philosophical works. They contained mathematical methods for calculating planetary positions, eclipses, solar and lunar motions, time intervals, and astronomical coordinates. The tradition represented one of the world's major historical systems of mathematical astronomy. Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati's early publications reflected this intellectual background. He translated and commented upon classical astronomical materials and later produced the Navadvipa Panjika, a Hindu calendar that applied astronomical calculation to the determination of religious observances. This background is important because it challenges a simplistic modern assumption that religious traditions and scientific traditions must always exist in opposition. In the case of Jyotisha, astronomical calculation was precisely what allowed religious communities to determine sacred time. Jyotisha, astronomy, calendrical science, and astrology. The modern English word, astrology, often creates confusion when discussing Jyotisha. Historically, Jyotisha was a broad intellectual category containing multiple branches, including mathematical astronomy, calendrical computation, and forms of astral interpretation. The mathematical branch, often associated with Gaita and Siddhanta astronomy, belongs clearly within the history of science. It required numerical methods, geometric reasoning, observational correction, and predictive accuracy. Calculations of eclipses, planetary positions, and calendrical cycles could be tested against observation. This distinction is essential. The historical scientific importance of Jyotisha does not depend upon accepting every later astrological claim concerning individual destiny or personality. Modern science has not validated those predictive systems in the empirical sense. However, the existence of such traditions does not diminish the scientific character of mathematical astronomy. The same distinction applies broadly throughout history. Medieval European astronomy was frequently connected with theological assumptions, but the astronomical calculations themselves remain scientific achievements. Islamic astronomers calculated prayer times and the direction of Mecca using advanced mathematics. Religious application does not eliminate scientific methodology. In Gautiya Hindu practice, calendrical astronomy remains central because festivals are determined according to astronomical relationships rather than fixed civil dates. Ekadashi, Janmami, Gaura Purnima, and other observances depend upon Tithi, lunar phase, solar position, and local astronomical conditions. A traditional Hindu calendar is therefore not simply a list of anniversaries. It is a mathematical representation of celestial cycles. Maya calendrical astronomy. The Maya developed one of the most sophisticated calendrical systems of the ancient world. Like Indian Jyotisha, Maya calendrical science was not a single calendar but a collection of interconnected systems. The 260-day Tzolk'in combined 20 named days with 13 numerical coefficients. The 365-day Harb approximated the solar year through 18 periods of 20 days plus 5 additional days. When these two cycles operated together, the same combination repeated only after 52 Harb years, a period known as the calendar round. For recording events across much longer periods, Maya civilization developed the long count. Unlike the cyclical calendar round, the long count functioned as a linear count of elapsed days from a cosmological beginning point. The standard correlation places this epoch at 13.0.0.0.0, corresponding to August 11, 3114 BCE in the proleptic Gregorian calendar. The Maya were also accomplished observational astronomers. The Dresden Codex contains tables concerning eclipses and Venus cycles. Particularly significant is the Venus table, which demonstrates that Maya astronomers recognized the difference between an idealized numerical cycle and actual astronomical observation. They incorporated correction mechanisms because the apparent 584-day Venus cycle was not perfectly exact. This characteristic is fundamental to understanding Maya astronomy. The calendar was not merely symbolic. It was a mathematical model continually related to the observed sky. Structural comparisons between Maya and Gautiya calendrical systems. The strongest comparisons between Maya calendrical science and Gautiya Hindu Jyotisha are structural rather than historical. The first parallel is the use of multiple overlapping cycles. Neither tradition understands time as a single sequence of numbered days. A Maya date exists simultaneously within the Tzolk'in, Harb, and long count systems. A Hindu calendar date similarly exists within multiple astronomical relationships: lunar month, fortnight, Tithi, nakshatra, solar position, and other factors. This reflects a common astronomical problem. Celestial phenomena occur through cycles of different lengths. The moon, sun, planets, and seasons do not align into one simple repeating pattern. A sophisticated calendar must therefore combine multiple cycles mathematically. The second parallel concerns the qualitative character of time. Both traditions reject the idea that all days are equivalent units. In Gauvaya Hindu practice, an Ekadashi fast is not merely performed on the 11th day, because a calendar says so. It occurs because a particular astronomical condition exists. Similarly, Maya sacred days possessed identities generated by the interaction of calendrical cycles. A day was not merely a blank chronological container, but a moment situated within a larger cosmic structure. The third parallel concerns specialist knowledge. Both traditions required trained calendar specialists capable of performing calculations that ordinary people could not easily reproduce. Maya day keepers maintained ritual calendars, while Indian Panjika makers calculated festival dates through astronomical methods. The fourth parallel concerns correction. Any astronomical calendar eventually confronts the problem of drift. The solar year is not exactly 365 days. The lunar month is not exactly 30 days. Planetary periods contain irregularities. Both civilizations developed strategies for maintaining the relationship between calculation and observation. This may be one of the deepest parallels between them. Neither tradition treated inherited numbers as immune from comparison with the heavens. The 3114 BCE and 3102 BCE epochs. The most frequently discussed comparison between Maya and Indian chronology concerns the dates 3114 BCE and 3102 BCE. The Maya long count begins from a creation epoch traditionally written as 13.0.0.0.0. The Kali Yuga epoch in Indian astronomical tradition begins in 3102 BCE, associated with Krishna's departure. The difference of approximately 12 years is certainly intriguing. However, historical discipline requires distinguishing between observation and interpretation. The similarity does not prove contact between India and Mesoamerica. It does not demonstrate that the Maya inherited Indian astronomy, nor that Indian astronomers knew of Maya chronology. Both dates are products of traditions that developed independently. The Maya long count emerged from Mesoamerican cultural history, while the Kali Yuga epoch belongs to Indian cosmological and astronomical traditions. The more interesting question is why both traditions created cosmological zero points in approximately the same chronological neighborhood. Several possibilities exist. The similarity may be coincidental. It may reflect broad patterns in human attempts to organize deep time. It may relate to astronomical cycles significant enough that independent civilizations noticed comparable temporal boundaries. Only astronomical reconstruction and careful statistical analysis could evaluate whether the dates share any deeper celestial relationship. Scholarly discussion and the question of cultural diffusion. Serious comparisons between Indian and Mesoamerican traditions have occurred within academic scholarship, although conclusions have generally been cautious. One significant discussion occurred in Balaji Mundkur's 1978 article in Current Anthropology. The alleged diffusion of Hindu divine symbols into pre-Columbian Mesoamerica. Mundkur examined proposed similarities between Hindu and Mesoamerican symbolic systems and received responses from numerous specialists in anthropology and Mesoamerican studies. The general scholarly conclusion was that the proposed parallels were insufficient evidence for historical diffusion. Similarities existed, but they were not specific enough, and many could be explained through independent cultural development. This conclusion remains important because it demonstrates the difference between legitimate comparison and speculative diffusion theory. Human societies facing similar astronomical problems may independently develop similar solutions. The existence of parallel structures does not automatically require contact. Modern scholarship on Maya astronomy has increasingly emphasized indigenous development. Researchers such as Anthony Aveni, Harvey and Victoria Bricker, Ivan Sprajk, and others have demonstrated that Maya astronomical systems can be understood through local observation, mathematics, architecture, and agricultural needs. Likewise, historians of Indian astronomy such as Kim Plocher and David Pingree have demonstrated that Sanskrit astronomical traditions possess their own internal development and technical sophistication. The strongest scholarly position, therefore, is not that Maya and Indian astronomy are unrelated, nor that they must have been connected. Rather, they represent two examples of how human civilizations respond to the same intellectual challenge, converting celestial observation into systems of meaningful time. Astronomical implications and future research. The most productive future research question is not whether Maya and Indian calendars are secretly identical. They are not. The better question is whether the major epoch dates themselves correspond to any unusual astronomical conditions. Modern computational astronomy allows researchers to reconstruct ancient skies with considerable precision. One could examine the years around 3114 BCE and 3102 BCE for planetary configurations, Venus cycles, eclipse possibilities, lunar phases, solar positions, stellar relationships, and precessional conditions. Such research would not prove cultural contact, but it could clarify whether both traditions selected their epochs in relation to identifiable astronomical phenomena. This approach would be consistent with the spirit of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati himself. His work did not consist of accepting inherited claims without examination. He studied astronomical traditions, compared calculations, and engaged the scientific questions available in his era. The proper response to unusual historical parallels is therefore neither immediate acceptance nor dismissal. It is calculation. Serendipity. The comparison between Gauveya Hindu Jyotisha and Maya calendrical astronomy reveals something significant about human intellectual history. Two civilizations separated by geography and cultural development created elaborate systems for understanding time through observation of the heavens. Their similarities do not demonstrate a lost connection between India and Mesoamerica. Current scholarship does not support that conclusion. But neither should the similarities be dismissed as meaningless. Both traditions reveal a common human impulse, the desire to locate human existence within a larger cosmic order. Both transformed astronomical observation into mathematics, mathematics into calendars, and calendars into systems of cultural meaning. Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati's life provides an important reminder that the boundary between religion and science has not always been as rigid as modern categories suggest. For many traditional civilizations, understanding the heavens was itself a sacred intellectual activity. The Maya astronomer and the Indian Jyotisha scholar were not necessarily sharing knowledge. They were doing something perhaps more fundamental. They were both attempting to read the same sky,